Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us the truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect. From the brother Yashuan, the quick video lesson. This is going to go into Iran getting their nukes, okay, as if they don't have them already. The men of the Lord, we believe that they've had them for quite some time, but now they're announcing or they're threatening. They are flexing their muscles, if you will. All right, so this is Isaiah 54 and 16, and this is explaining the nukes, okay? Isaiah 54:16, behold, I, who is the Most High, I have created the smith, like blacksmith, that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster, and I have created the waster to destroy, okay? So the Most High gave the schematic, if you will, to the blacksmith, Oppenheimer, whoever this idiot was that put together these nukes, right? A blacksmith, what he does is he creates weapons of war, all right? They get a little bellow, they get a bellows, they blow the fire, get the fire real hot, they melt down whatever substance, iron, steel, whatever you're going to make, like a sword, a battle axe, ninja stars, okay? He creates weapons. I've created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. You blow the coals and make the fire hotter, all right? And that bringeth forth an instrument, okay? What kind of instrument? In this case, it's talking about a nuclear bomb. And I've created the waster to destroy, okay? Now let's get the nuke out. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. What can cause that to happen? Okay, well, a nuke, a nuclear bomb. All right, maybe we'll show that later. We'll get a strike, but anyway, that's what that's talking about. Let's get this real quick, okay, because it says again, and this shall be the plague. What plague? Let's get this. CEI, not, receive not of her plagues. What's this? And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Talk about Babylon the Great. And that ye receive not of her plagues. What plague? That nuclear destruction. Come out of her. Come out of who? Come out of Babylon the Great. Okay? Flee from the midst of Babylon. Depart. Okay? Flee Babylon. Okay? Get out of there. This right here is talking about come out of her, my people. That's talking about get beamed up. All right? Let's talk about this right here. So, it's never going to work. Let's see. Revelation 12 and Salakia. Is it 12? It's 11 right here. And I heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. Same thing. Come out of her, my people. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. At the same hour was there a great earthquake. That's them bomb, them nukes. And the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. All right, that's the missiles. All right. Now, let the week? Let's go to Joel 3. And this is talking about creating nuclear bombs. Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks, which are gardening tools. Get your gardening tools, right? Plowshares and pruning hooks are gardening tools. It says, melt down your plows and your pruning hooks and make swords and spears. Well, sword, okay? I'll get a glittering sword here in a minute. All right? Let the weak say I am strong. Who's the weak? This is Iran. Who's strong right now? Okay, that's them Israelis over there. Them Amalekites, all right, are allies with Babylon the Great, which is America. They're strong. They got each other's back. Who's weak? Iran supposedly don't have the bomb yet. So what this is saying is Iran is going to build a bomb and say, hey, don't fuck with me. I'm not weak. I'm strong. Okay? Let's get this real quick. What is a glittering sword? If I whet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies and will reward them that hate me. When I sharpen my flashing sword, all right, what is the Most High going to use to bring vengeance on his enemies? He's going to use those nukes. All right? If I whet what? My glittering sword. Beat your plowshares into swords. What is a glittering sword? It's talking about those nuclear missiles. All right, now we'll watch the video. This is Deep Journal Channel, August 5th, yesterday. Breaking. Iran made its nuclear weapon, question mark, bomb loading fearlessly. Israel slapped U.S. with evidence. What they're saying is, hey, and this is a rumor of war. All right, and what is a rumor of war? Let's get that real quick and then watch the video. Matthew 24. All right. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Let's investigate that. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. All right. You will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. It is going to happen that you are going to hear battles and reports of war. It's a report, a threat, a rumor, news. You're going to hear of the noise of battles close by and the news of battles far away. begin to hear of wars and reports of wars. Well, this is a report of war. Let's listen to it.
Tension between Iran and Israel in recent days, both sides continue to give each other threatening and harsh messages. Iran seems to have put pressure on Israel in the region, especially considering the recent ship attacks and hijackings in the Arabian Sea, allegedly carried out by Iran against Israel. This issue is now a huge conflict created by two powerful Middle Eastern countries, Israel and Iran, both by economic, nuclear and militia forces on different fronts. So, how effective is the fact that Iran, which continues its daring attacks and rhetoric against Israel in the USA, is defined as a nuclear country? As you know, in 2015, the United States, China, France, Germany, Iran, Russia, the United Kingdom and the European Union agreed that Iran would conduct a nuclear program in a way that would not be able to acquire nuclear weapons, and in return, the sanctions against Iran were lifted. But Trump unilaterally withdrew from this deal in 2017 and reimposed sanctions on Iran. As a result of this move, Iran returned to some of its former nuclear activities. The turning point here was February of 2021. That's because Iran lifted.
I just got my cash back.
Damn commercial. Slocky for that. Get back to it. Got Moab. Right, here we go.
The raid inspection permit at its nuclear facilities in February. It was during this period that many analysts thought that Iran was after something big, like nuclear weapons or something similar. It is understood that Iran, which has been trying to intimidate Israel with harassment attacks over both Syria, Lebanon and Palestine, has reached the end of its patience against the recent cooperation between the USA, the UK and Israel. It seems clear that Iran, which is very brave in its statements and actions, is something that it trusts. Although Iran is a nuclear country, there are claims that it does not have the ability to produce nuclear weapons. But Iran had officially claimed last month that it could purify uranium to 90% and make nuclear weapons whenever it wanted.
And you think they haven't done so?
For years, Israel, and especially Netanyahu, has tried to warn the United States and its allies by claiming that Iran is too close to a nuclear weapon. At this point, Israel has repeatedly warned Iran not to have a nuclear power.
Which means that they can go attack Iran whenever they want to. Talk about, oh, well, you're close to making a nuke, which is absurd.
What if Iran has already become a nuclear power and is...
You think they haven't? Oh, no, we're just refining uranium over here. We're a nuclear country, but we don't build bombs. Come on.
To use nuclear weapons. Could Israel have given President Biden new information about Iran's development of nuclear weapons? So why is President Biden so persistently trying to get Iran back into nuclear talks? What should be the moves of the USA and Israel against Iran? When politicians talk about nuclear Iran, what exactly do they mean? It is important to understand the terminology, and also for Israel to be on the same page as the Americans before nuclear talks resume. The epicenter of the core of Israeli policy on Iran's nuclear ambitions and program can be reduced to one sentence: Israel will never allow Iran to become a nuclear power. A sentence that says it all despite the inherent vagueness, and accurately reflects Israeli interests and its mode of thought. This dictum is a concise history of 30 years' worth of military, intelligence and diplomatic policies, public and covert, and will almost certainly be the number one item on the agenda when Prime Minister Naftali Bennett meets U.S. President Joe Biden in Washington later this month. But what does it really mean? What exactly does never allow involve and entail, and what constitutes a nuclear Iran? While this may look simple enough to define, it is anything but. Iran is already a nuclear state. That cannot be preempted, prevented or undone. By some definitions, it can also be considered a threshold state. But Iran has no military nuclear capability, which is exactly why there is terminological confusion and where imprecise policy statements are made. When Israel repetitiously declares that it will not acquiesce to a nuclear Iran and assiduously proclaims that a militarized nuclear Iran is totally unacceptable, it is serious. When President Biden states that Iran will not get nuclear weapons under his watch, he means it. The thing is, both statements are consistent with the current situation of Iran being a threshold state. That is something leaders, politicians, generals and ex-generals, and foreign policy wonks fail to clarify when they ceremoniously make these pledges, leading the public to assume this is a binary state of affairs. Either Iran disarms by virtue of a renewed JCPOA, the nuclear deal, denuclearizes, or risks war. Beneath the clear surface of the stated strategy, there is jargon that is often misleading. Terms are used interchangeably and freely to emphasize and dramatize the point the speaker is trying to make. Nuclear power, nuclear state, threshold state, old and new centrifuges, uranium enrichment, nuclear reactor, weapons grade material, sufficient fissile material, breakout time, delivery system, nuclear warhead, ballistic missile, all roll off tongues too casually and create a misguided and murky vocabulary. As the Americans and Iran prepare to resume a seventh round of talks on the U.S. re-entry into the nuclear deal, from which the U.S. unilaterally withdrew in 2018 and whose principles and limitations Iran has been violating since 2019, the most pertinent term is threshold state. To be a threshold state, also known as nuclear latency, or a screwdriver's turn away, means to possess the technology, knowledge, components and have readily available, or have the capability to relatively quickly produce the required quantities of enriched uranium, and be limited only by a decision not to proceed. This is rough.
Good enough. All right. So this is a report. This is a rumor of war. All right. So, hey, we're very close to the end. All right. Let's go back here. Let's go back here and go to Revelation. All right. Here's where we are. We're very close to this here. I mean, here we are right here. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. We're there. And they stood upon their feet. Who's they? The nation of Israel, the elect. And great fear fell upon them which saw them were there. They see us standing up. They see us waking up to who we are. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. All right, we haven't gotten here yet. This is right before all the nukes destroy all of their targets. We're watching the nukes come closer and closer. We're watching World War III right about to be declared. They're already fighting, they just haven't declared it yet. All right? And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. That's going to happen right before the nukes hit. And our enemies, the ones that great fear fell upon when they saw us, starting with you Edomites, and then all you other nations, you know that you have but a short time left. And here's the detonation of the nukes. And the same hour as when we got beamed up in the extraction, this is an extraction, POW extraction, then the great destruction of what we're going to be saved from. The same hour was there a great earthquake. That great earthquake is all those nukes exploding at the same time. It's going to rock, shake the earth off its axis. And the 10th part of the city fell. What does that mean? It means the entire North American continent is on fire, blazing, nuclear fire. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, means everybody died. 7 means completion. Everybody on the North America, what city? Babylon, the great city. The 10th part, all 10 FEMA zones go down. And everybody dies. Everybody that didn't ascend up to heaven in a cloud. And the remnant, who's the remnant? The ones that ascended up to heaven in a cloud. We're affrighted. We're going to be scared shitless as to what just happened. It's all going to happen damn near instantaneously. And gave glory to the power of heaven. All right? All right, so with that, we hope that the elect were edified, and we're going to move from here straight to the World War III daily update. It's not going to be about this. It'll be about something else. We'll probably just look at some headlines. So with that, we hope the elect were edified, and with that, we'll say shalom.